Today at Woodturning, we're going on an Easter egg hunt. Well, actually, we're going to make the Easter eggs, we're going to make the basket, and we're going to make this really cool handle. It's going to be a great project.
Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Quality hardened tool rests and live centers too. Robust. Built to turn wood. Enjoyed for a lifetime.
Easy Wood Tools, best-in-class carbide wood turning tools. The basis of our whole project is going to be this dried bowl blank that is about 10 years old, and it's ready to turn. The other thing is my wife and I were painting the eggs last night, and we realized, why are we painting wood? Wood is beautiful. So instead of painting the eggs, we're going to use wood that has colors in it. So we're going to have purple, we're going to have a great black, brown with cocobolo. We're going to have that neat color with babinga, and then we got zebra wood. And then we're going to up our game even more, and instead of using this green stuff, we're going to use shavings to fill the basket up. Now, we haven't worked with a dried bowl blank before. So when you wet cut this and it's really wet green wood, you put it in a bag or something like that and save it for 3 or 4 months, or like I said, about 10 years, it warps. So you can see it's curving down here, coming up here, curving down again. That's a natural action of the wood as it dries to shrink and pull in. So you have to leave this about the same thickness all the way through. So it gets a little sketchy down here because you don't want the bottom to be too thin. Because see how I went down in there? And if you make it too thin, you get in trouble. How am I going to hold this now? Because I need to return this tenon so it's going to be centered. So I'm just going to push this up against here. There's still a mark from the live center right there. So I'll bring this up, and now I'm going to bring it back, put it in live center hole, and advance it forward, and it centers itself. So lock that in like so, crank it down. Now it's going to be all wonky when it turns. You can see how low and how distorted that is there. So we're going to lose some of that, but we're going to turn this tenon and we're going to shape the outside and get everything working good on this side. Now before we get going, I want to take this moment to thank Robust Lathes and Easy Wood Tools, because without their support, we wouldn't be able to do this show, and that wouldn't be a whole lot of fun, would it? So since we're going to be spinning this thing, I do not know what abuse or trauma this has had over the last 10 years, so I'm going to wear a face shield to be safe. And the first thing I do want to attack is the tenon, just to see where I'm going to wind up. So I'm going to turn this on very slowly and bring her speed up. And you can see a little bit of a silhouette there, so it's got some issues. So I'm probably only going about 300 to 400 RPM right now. We're just going to nibble our way in. You can feel the jitter in your hands when you're doing this. And then once the jitter goes away, you know you're pretty good. Now I've got an issue here. I can't go too far underneath that lip because I went too deep when I hauled this out to begin with. But that was 10 years ago. I didn't know what I was doing then. Okay, that looks good. Now we're going to start working on the shape. So let's go ahead and get something that looks like a bowl gouge here. And we're going to start nibbling our way in and get rid of the wobbliness on this. So I'm going to do a pull cut right off the bat. And that'll get me established. As you can see, it's smoothing out now. Shavings are coming off a lot nicer. And I might as well keep doing the pull cut around the corner because it's working really good. This is some extremely punky wood. And so if I don't take a really sharp edge to it, it's going to tear out the grain like crazy. Even this, I guarantee you the grain's going to be looking a little bit messy. So actually, it looks pretty good, but you can see it's tearing out there, and I'm using a sharp blade on it. So anyway, I'm going to keep working on this, and we're going to get this leveled out. Okay, I've got the shape I want now. I've leveled off the lip here and I'm starting to make a bead. But you can see what I'm talking about, the punkiness. Look at the torn out grain here. And I'm using a really sharp bowl gouge and I'm doing a pull cut. So the thing I'm going to do to help myself out now is I'm going to take an Easy Wood tool with their negative rake scraper on here, because this thing really is great. Hardwood like this is going to be kind of slow going, but that's what I want. I don't want to go fast and I don't want to take a lot. So I'm going to put my body over here like so, and I'm going to bring the tool with me as I lean back my weight. You see I'm shaping the bead right there. And I'm just going to do this gently and sneak up on a bead. Doesn't matter what tool you're using, you got to sneak up on a bead. Now, same thing, put my weight over here. I'm going to start here, and I'm going to just gently break that corner. That's not a great term, but and you can see it just takes a little bit of work to get it going. Now, the nice thing is the negative rake won't get you a catch. You have to work really hard to get one. So, once I get this bead done, we're going to start working on the inside of this bowl. Okay, now we have the bowl reversed on the lathe. I'm holding it in my chuck. And so when you're hollowing, it's going to be kind of tough because you're coming in at this angle to clean it out. And so you're just flying out here, right? Plus you can go wham and knock your elbow right into that live center, and it really hurts. But the cool thing about the American Beauty is I have this tilt-away headstock. And it's pneumatic, so it's not like I'm lifting all that weight, so it swings out really good. Now, here's the next part that's so cool. I didn't invent this, David Ellsworth did. He's an amazing turner. You gotta look him up sometime. Anyway, I'm gonna straddle the lathe because it's gonna make it a lot easier for me to get in here and use my body now. So I want to just start thinning out the walls and make them consistent. I don't have to be really thin. I'm gonna pick the speed up here a bit, because this is going to be possibly used by little children who are going to drop the thing all over the place. Anyway, you're going to do a little bit of air. You come in here, the tool tip is touching, and now the bevel's rubbing. And so we just follow that shape in for an inch or two. You're going to get some vibration because this is already hollowed out. If you did a normal bowl, you'd be working from the center in and about an inch at a time, and you wouldn't get as much vibration. But now that it's hollow all the way through, you have to be really careful with your cuts and take your time because there's not as much support. And I'm kind of leaning to my left as I'm looking around the camera. Anyway, as I hollow this down and thin it out, I'm going to take some calipers and measure the wall thickness to make sure that I'm consistent and that I'm not getting too thin. Okay, I have now marked 4 holes on here. I've already drilled 2, and the reason being is our little friend here will help us out. You need 2 on either side for balance. If you just did 1 hole and you had something fat on there, it would flip off. So if you get a ton of eggs in there or a visitor, you want to make sure you're balanced. So I've got the headstock locked on my American Beauty, and I'm just going to drill in here very slowly. And I'm putting my finger on this side, not that I want to go through my finger, but I want to feel this coming through the wood as it gets close to the end side there. And I'm going to slow it down, so there we go, so it doesn't tear out the wood grain. I haven't sanded the inside yet because of that exact thing. So here goes the last one here. And so once I get this hole drilled, I'll sand the inside, and then we're going to move on to the handle. There we go, perfect. There is one more thing to do before we get to the handle. I've got to take that off the bottom. So I've mounted this in a Longworth chuck. This one's made by Ron Brown's Best. And basically, these little rubber stoppers here, as you tighten them down, they squish in and they're going over that bead. It doesn't work for every bowl, but when you have the right shape, it really works great. It does sound kind of scary once you start it up, though. Oops, and if I started it in the right direction, that'd be even better. But anyway, you want to have a very sharp tool, and you just want to very slowly feed your way in. This isn't a race at this point. So you're just going to take your time and whittle this down, and pretty soon we'll have a nice flat bottom. Okay, so now we're ready for the handle. It's a nice little shape, but the tricky part is you've got to drill a hole all the way through. So what I did is I went ahead and mounted the piece of wood in my chuck and used a Jacob's chuck with a drill bit in it to drill all the way through, and it goes through the bottom of the blank. So you're really cool. It doesn't hurt you at all. It's interesting to do, at least. Now you have a hole in this thing going all the way through. How do you mount it? Well, it's easy. I have a cone center here that I can screw onto my robust live center, but how do I hold it over here? Well, this is a stepped drive center. So this is a Morse 2 taper, and then these are different diameters and dimensions. So you slide that in there, you put this on here and it centers up, and then you bring this in here, and now you're perfectly centered, and you can start making your handle. What do you think we should do now? Make some eggs? Yeah, let's make some eggs. Ooh, magic. No, I stuck a rod in there. I haven't made up my mind yet as whether or not I'm going to finish the handle with polyurethane or not. Same goes for the bowl down here, the basket part, but I think it's going to look really good when I do. But I did go ahead and put one coat of polyurethane on all of the woods. And so you can either make it this way or you can go this way and paint the eggs, whichever one you like. I think this one on the left is really, really cool because we've used 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different woods to make this piece. Oh, including the shavings too. So anyway, that is how you make a 7-wood Easter basket. Until the next time on Wood Turning, keep turning.
Tim's American Beauty was made by Robust Tools, America's premier lathe manufacturer. Quality hardened tool rests and live centers too. Robust. Built to turn wood. Enjoyed for a lifetime.
Easy Wood Tools, best in class carbide wood turning tools.